Welcome back to Tales of Truth, where we tell the truth about veterinary medicine. I'm Dr. Angie, and this is my co-host and veterinary nurse extraordinaire, JoJo. And today we're talking about dog food.
Yeah, dog diets. I like this topic.
What do you feed your dog?
The farmer's dog.
Nice.
So it's a cooked food. And I have a husky mix who is really, really choosy. Just will quit eating. And this is the one food that he has just let me feed him for, gosh, we must be going on a year. And another plug for them that I just have to say is they offer a veterinary industry discount, a significant discount.
Oh, they do. Nice.
So for those who are listening in the industry, check them out.
Yes. I feel like I always hear good things from my clients about the farmer's dog. No one ever says, oh, my dog just didn't like it. Everyone's like, oh, they love it. Right. And I think the only reason why people stop feeding is either they can't go out and buy it, so they have to get it in the mail, or because financially, something changed and they needed to do something differently. But I think it's really good.
Right. So maybe we launch there with that type of diet. Because, I mean, there is some issue with it, right? It's heavier in legumes or starches, if you will.
I mean, it can be. Mm-hmm. It can be. I mean, any recipe is going to have its, pros and cons for every dog. And so, but I love this segment of the market, like the fresh cooked. Is that what I think that's what we're mostly calling it is.
Yeah, I know. I don't know the difference between fresh cooked and the gently cooked versus the home cooked, right?
I think gently cooked is kind of still a little raw.
Still a little raw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would not be this.
No, this is definitely not raw. And there are other brands like Ollie, Just Food for Dogs, Maeve is one of those brands. But if you walk into Petco, they just have aisles now of freezers with these types of diets available. Which is really cool. I like them.
I like it, and the dogs are fans. So that's, I can see though, if I was paying full price, I could understand not being able to do that on a long term.
Well, yeah, and you have two big dogs. I used to feed my pug Nom Nom Now, which is another one.
I love Nom Nom Now.
Yes. Yeah. And that was a little more affordable because he was 14 pounds. But he ended up being so allergic that he ended up on Royal Canin Ultimino. I couldn't feed him the food I wanted to feed him, but I really loved. I mean, and I fed him Nom Nom Now, like, I don't know, 2015. That was a long time ago. But anyways, I liked it because it came to my door, and we are not affiliated with any of these brands, by the way, and it came to my door and it was lovely, but it felt good to open up the package and see real food.
I love it. I love it every time. And Nom Nom Now we did for a while too, but something about that Bodhi gave up on it, so I would have to change and then come back to it. Yeah. So for whatever reason, Farmer's Dog, he's just committed.
Yeah, they have good palatability. Shout out to Farmer's Dog. Thanks for all the palatability. You probably put a lot of money and research into that.
And thank you for the industry discount. It's such a gift because, as we know, technicians don't make a whole lot of money.
Right. Yeah. Veterinary nurse.
Not this episode.
We'll do.
Okay. So I feel like this kind of meal, this commercial cooked meal, can kind of go hand in hand with home cooked, right? So they have to be balanced. They have to be. What are people looking for when they're doing it?
When they're cooking for their dog themselves?
Yeah, like somebody can purchase it, right? If you have the financial means, you can purchase something like the Farmer's Dog or Nom Nom Now.
Right.
But if you couldn't financially structure that into your budget, then you might look at something like a home cooked meal.
Yes. So you definitely can cook for your dog. And I use the website Balance It before I found Balance It. So I was a young veterinarian, and I created this whole spreadsheet with the help of my, at that time, husband, who was like an Excel genius. And we pulled in all of like the USDA metrics of like what a chicken breast and like all the foods we wanted. And we just created this whole big machine to create balanced diets. And then someone, I mean, I don't know how many hours we spent on this, and probably not as much as I would have by myself because he's so fast at Excel. But then someone was like, hey, have you heard of balanceit.com? And I was like, oh, someone else
but
did
to
that.
your credit, first of all, that's fantastic commitment. Second of all, Balance It, they were clunky for a while. It was really painful to use their site. Their site is so good now.
It's so good, but nothing was clunkier than my spreadsheet, JoJo.
Okay.
Like, it was pretty clunky. But one thing that exercise made me do as we were building this is understand how AFCO minimums and maximums work. And that's basically kind of the standard of how little and how much of every nutrient does your dog need. And so I really got to understand that, and to build it, I feel like I understand what's happening. And I don't know that all veterinarians have taken the time to do that because, of course, why would they? I just have a special interest in nutrition. At the time, I was trying to help my clients cook for their dogs. And then I saw Balance It, which was still infinitely better than what I built. Because I was just I was just balancing these diets for people, and which was good. It was fun. But then balanceit.com. So the end of the moral of the story is just go to balanceit.com because now their website's really pretty and really easy to use. And they have a supplement where it's basically just made for home cooked diets. If you go buy a vitamin and mineral mix just from any pet food store or online, that vitamin and mineral supplement, like it's a multivitamin, it's made for already balanced diets. And so what Balance It does differently, and I mean, some other people are doing this too, but I don't know if they're doing it quite as well as Balance It, is that it is made to balance a diet. And so basically they will generate a recipe for you, or you can create your own. And then they'll say, hey, do 3 teaspoons of this vitamin and mineral mix. It's so easy. And then you can change the recipe. If you're one of those people that are like, I like to eat seasonally, then you can change the recipe to, I'm doing more squash, or, I have more beef right now. And so you can change that, and then it'll tell you how much vitamin and mineral mix to use.
Right. Or even if you're following Chinese medicine, right? There's time for warm meats and cooling foods. So
yes,
that can be.
Yeah. In Chinese medicine, every food has an energetic property. So like lamb is really warming, and maybe you don't want to do that if your animal has, excess heat, which Chinese medicine is just a bunch of metaphorical diagnoses, which we should do an episode on that sometime.
Oh, yeah, we probably should.
Yeah. So if you follow that, then you can just make your own recipe on Balance It.
Yep. I've tried home cooking too. Using Balance It was so easy. The issue I ran into is I made too big of batches, and then my dog decided no longer wanted the batch that I made. Yeah. So, I threw in the towel very quickly. It is a commitment. I am so amazed by people and their dedication to show up in that way for their dogs.
I home cooked for my pug until I had kids. And then that was over. That was over.
And something we didn't do, Dr. Angie, that is so deserving of space on this episode is we didn't tell the people your experience in the pet food industry. And so that you're speaking from a lot of experience. Dr. Angie has worked in a lot of space of the pet food industry. She worked for I Am Loving You, which it still is, grocery store ready. Such a fun company, by the way, with their marketing. Yeah. And Open Farm, which is a more sustainable. Open Farm is, are they cooked? They're cooked diets.
They have cooked diets. They have kibble. They have everything. They have freeze dried. They have cans. They have everything.
You guys, this company their sustainability model is top notch, and so much so that they were even looking for, what's the right word? It's not, I'm just going to go with sustainable again. Protein sources. Like I don't know if they had it or how well it did once it hit the market, but they had cricket protein.
No, it was black soldier fly larva.
Oh, was it really? I thought it was cricket protein.
It's along the line of crickets. Like they were trying to use insect protein to move away from animal protein for dogs. Like, you can't do that for cats. But I love that. So they created a diet. They created, I think it's a vegan diet, or it could be just vegetarian and not vegan. But they really are thinking about the environment when they're feeding pets, which is so cool. Yeah. I loved them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a cool company if anybody wants to check it out. And then your last stint, if you will, was with Stella and Chewy's.
Yeah.
And they're a long time player in the raw food game.
I love Stella and Chewy's. I feed my cat Stella and Chewy's. I use Open Farm too, and I love Stella and Chewy's. They've been around forever. They're one of the OG raw food brands that I think has done a really great job of meeting people where they are and making really safe products. And so they haven't done anything crazy in their innovation that would put my patients in danger. And they have top-notch safety protocols. And I love all three of those brands. I don't have anything negative to say about them. I love them. And I probably could say anything negative now because I don't work for them, but I love them all.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's worth mentioning again. On this episode, people are going to hear a lot of brands dropped, and none of them do we have any kind of affiliation with, just experience.
Yeah, I have signed no contract with any. I have nothing going on right now, and so
yeah, I don't want anybody to feel that they're being swayed a certain way because of money. That's not happening.
No.
Yeah. No. Okay, so I'm glad we could put that in there because I think that your experience in this field is really important to name. As we're moving off of the cooked food, there is new data coming out that I've only briefly touched about. And it's that the cooked foods, the cooked diets are heavy. Okay, the heavy in legumes was part of the issue, right?
Okay.
Was that for the HCM? That's not new.
That's not new, but we should talk about that in this episode. But okay, keep going.
The other piece is that it's causing stones in certain dogs.
I wonder if I should just Google this while we're,
because I know, because, no heads up.
I saw a headline. I know heads up. But this, we're doing this show.
I'm going to drink while you Google. I'm going to drink coffee. Let me clarify. Okay. I'm going to take a sip of coffee while you Google.
Okay, so what should I Google? Fresh dog food, and it's causing urinary calculus.
I think it's causing urinary stones in some dogs.
Okay, let's see what's going on. Okay, well, the first thing I see, shout out to Farmer's Dog, it says treat bladder stones in dogs. They probably have a prescription diet. Love that. Just Food for Dogs also has prescription diets. Love that too. Let's see. University of Minnesota discover new urinary stones. Fresh dog food. Okay, let's read it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So this is University of Minnesota. They have a Urolith center. Okay, that's pretty cool. They analyzed stones from around 93,000 animals last year. So this must be where we all send our stones.
Okay.
So even if you send them into like IDEX, they send them here probably. Okay. So basically we're just establishing that they see every urinary stone ever. Let's see, that's happened in the last year. A few years ago, the Minnesota Urolith Center received a couple abnormal stones. The center employs a technique called infrared spectroscopy, which shoots an invisible light beam through the urinary stones. This produces a fingerprint of the chemicals. Okay, so that's how they figure out what kind of stones, like what it's made of, the components. Through this process, the center determined that the unusual stones were formed from a naturally occurring organic compound called choline and food ingredients called tartrate. Since there were only 2 such stones in the tens of thousands the center analyzes every year, the team didn't think much of it. Then all of a sudden we were seeing more and more. Okay. Outside veterinarians were asking basically what's going on here. Dr. Lulich, I hope I'm saying their name correctly, and his team knew what was likely the source of the trend and tested their theory by collecting information on the diet of each dog who formed the newly discovered stones called calcium tartrate tetrahydrate, or CTT Urolith. Okay. Oh. Dogs get choline bitartrate, the main compound in CTT Urolith, from fresh dog food and through supplements recommended for dogs that eat a homemade food. Oh no.
Yeah, I thought that this just came out recently.
To ensure
or it's at least gaining some traction.
Yeah, fresh dog food companies have gained popularity in the last few years, which is true. This is like an exploding segment of the market. As more owners make the switch from dry food, the trend appears to have an unintended consequence. Oh, choline bitartrate is generally in fresh food diets that are minimally processed. Okay. CTT urinary stones have also been reported in people who take muscle building supplements that contain tartrate. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. Just from working in the pet food industry, they're going to fix this because they can't have this. They don't want this.
Right. I've seen it on socials and people talking about it and people being afraid. So,
right. Well,
because now we have social media, so things catch fire very quickly.
Yeah. No, they named a couple brands. Oh, this is such a bummer. Okay,
they did.
Yeah, using information about each dog's diet, the researchers were able to determine what type of choline bitartrate was in the food they were eating. The data showed a clear link between choline bitartrate found in some of the most popular fresh dog food brands, including the Farmer's Dog, Just Food for Dogs, and Nom Nom. Like, we've literally...
Oh, my gosh.
And then
wow, this is going to be such a great episode because this is...
Yeah.
Wow.
This episode is now about this. Okay. The newly discovered CTT Urolith. Okay. The discovery was published in April in the Journal of Veterinary Internal Medicine. Okay. So here's probably what's going to happen, but we should reach out to these brands and just say, hey, what are you doing? Because they're going to do something about it. They're going to change the ingredients. Because some of the brands would not disclose what type of choline bitartrate they used, it's still not clear exactly which types may put dogs at more risk for CTT Urolith. But what I'm hearing, probably what I'm understanding, is the Farmer's Dog, Just Food for Dogs, and Nom Nom did. They were transparent. And so we're going to give them credit for that. But because
and there's probably more we're going to learn, right? What are the breeds of each of these dogs? Are some breeds more susceptible? I mean, there's going to be next layers of research on this.
Totally. Let's see. Okay. But because the new discovery found both a new type of stones and its suspected cause, it's basically going to be preventable. It's also possible that if the link is confirmed, ants will change the type of choline bitartrate they used in their fresh dog food. I think that's what they're going to do. They're just going to change it. I've watched, so I worked for I Am Loving You during the whole grain-free dilated cardiomyopathy, FDA, I don't know, scandal. It's not a
did
scandal.
I call it HCM and it was actually DCM?
That's okay. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, sorry about that.
HCM is in cats. That's okay. It doesn't matter. But I just... They responded. Like, the whole industry responded to that by adding more taurine. Everyone was super interested. That no one wanted to cause any heart disease in dogs. And so my guess is they're going to say, oh, we have this connection, and then they're going to fix it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to continue what I'm doing because my dogs have been on it for so long.
Right.
And my suspicion is there are some maybe breeds or genetic dispositions that are just more prone to it.
Right. Like they were all Shih Tzus or like,
right.
Know,
yeah. I want to know more before I just, sound the alarm.
Right. But I think this is good if your dog has urinary symptoms and you're feeding these types of foods, then you could say, hey, just bring it to your vet's attention, because this is the first time I saw a headline and thought, oh, I'll go back to that, and didn't. So this is the first time I'm taking the time to understand the connection they're making. And these brands are going to fix this. I have full confidence that they'll do something different. But anytime you do something new, this is what happens. And this is what happened when we went away from grains. We were like, oh, we're all going paleo in the early 2000s. Or I don't know, is that when people were going paleo? But it seemed like that was the trend. And so we're like, oh, well, my dog should be paleo too. We're going to take grains out of their diet. But in order to make a kibble, you have to have a carbohydrate source. So we put legumes in. And no one really did any long-term studies of how well dogs digest legumes and what it meant that a significant portion of their protein and their diet was going to be legumes. And the thought is, although we haven't really proved this link, we actually never proved that a grain-free diet caused dilated cardiomyopathy, but a bunch of cardiologists started seeing it. And once we took them off of their grain-free diet and put taurine back in, they got better. And so the hypothesis is that the legumes are causing some type of malabsorption issue, which that can happen in people too, where maybe you just don't absorb as much. And so dogs were not absorbing the precursors to taurine, and which are 2 amino acids. And so they were low in taurine, and then they were causing this heart disease that was fatal to a lot of dogs, but was sometimes we were able to reverse it when we added taurine. And so this is kind of what happens when we try new things.
Right, but that DCM, those headlines, that is still very in the front and center of people's minds. It's still very much, I see it in marketing. I see it
yeah, it is.
In the bait headlines, of causing fear.
Yeah.
So I wonder, what do people need to worry about in
well,
that?
I think I'm careful to feed a diet that has a ton of legumes. And so the new rule kind of is if legumes are in the first 5 ingredients, maybe it's not the best diet. Some dogs do really well on those diets. I'm not afraid of grains. I think a little bit of like rice or barley or any of those grains are usually okay for dogs. A lot of pet food companies that were really hinging on grain-free being their thing moved to ancient grains like millet and quinoa. Basically the gluten-free grains. So I think that's fine. Some people are supplementing with taurine. I sometimes see people do this. They'll feed a grain-free diet, which is high in legumes, and then they say, but I put some rice on top. So it's not grain-free anymore. And you're like, oh, wait, no, that's probably not going to be the fix.
Right. And with that, wasn't there certain breeds with that diagnosis?
Yeah. So golden retrievers, like we
Goldens.
I know, sweet babies. We could never quite figure out the link. So it was never really proven, although if you were in practice, you saw it. It happened. But we did discover there's something going on with golden retrievers. And so if I have a golden retriever in my practice that can only eat a grain-free diet that is high in legumes, doesn't really matter if there's grains or not, but a legume-heavy diet, I do supplement them with taurine just to cover the bases.
Okay. That took a pivot that I did not expect.
Yeah, so this episode became about scandals in the pet food industry. No, but it became about what happens when we, do trends.
Learn new information.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Or what happens is the pet food industry, they're just following what people want. And so they're following what people are doing with their own diet. So we got into chicken broth, right? And then dogs got into chicken broth and cats did too. We got into the paleo. Then dogs became paleo. So dogs are going to follow whatever we're doing. And sometimes what we're doing isn't really the best thing.
Right. I mean, including being vegan. There are people who really struggle to, if they're vegan, and I understand this, I can empathize with this. Yeah. It's just they really struggle then to feed meat because of a value perspective to their dog or cat. I know this is a dog episode, but they have a different biological need.
It's tough. That's a tough one. Cats absolutely can't be vegan. Some dogs do okay. It's hard for me to get behind it. So I was a vegetarian for most of my life, but it's really hard for me to get behind it for my canine patients, although I've seen some dogs do okay. But that's rough for people, and I think they don't get a lot of support in the pet food industry or in the veterinary industry. And I completely, as someone who didn't eat meat because I didn't want to harm animals for the first 30 years of my life, I really get it. And I don't know how to make that one work. And some people will say, well, I'm doing it. And I think probably just like people, some dogs do better than others, depending on their own individual constitution.
Right. That's fair. So I feel like this episode became more about trends in diet. And so I'm just sitting here thinking, what are the trends currently? I mean, the fresh cooked is trendy.
And I love it. I still love it, despite the fact that we, for a short time, accidentally gave some dogs some urinary stones. Like, I think we can fix that. And I'm sorry for all those dogs with urinary stones. Like, that's awful. That I wish that didn't happen. But I do think it is offering a lot of benefit and choice.
Do you also feel that raw is trendy? Or do you feel that's another episode? I feel like raw food is its own episode.
I love raw food, and it is its own episode because I have so much to say about how to do it well.
Maybe we should wrap this episode and record a raw food episode.
Let's do it. Let's do it. But if you're listening to this episode, because we haven't released the next episode, it won't be till next week if you're listening to this episode. If you want to talk about what your dog is eating or anything that's happening with your dog, you can book a consultation with me. Go to boulderholisticvet.com and hit book consultation on the top right, and you can reserve some time on my calendar, and I'll collect all your records, or JoJo will collect all of your records, and I will review them, and we'll meet on Zoom. It's all recorded, and we'll make a plan.
Yeah. I think you did 3 of those this week.
Yes.
Diet consultations are very popular.
Yes. I can help you figure out what the best thing for you and your dog would be.
Okay.
See you next time.
That does it.
Okay. Bye.